In a distant galaxy, there was an empire ruled by a cruel emperor named Xandor. His power was vast, and his presence filled everyone with fear. No one dared to stand against him. The empire controlled many planets, and each one lived in terror. Xandor's soldiers roamed the streets, their cold eyes scanning for any signs of rebellion. If anyone dared to defy the emperor, they faced harsh punishments or worse. On a small, lush planet called Xantor, life was about to change. Zara, a young alien with shimmering green skin and bright yellow eyes, lived in a peaceful village. The villagers worked hard, farming and crafting beautiful things. But fear hung over them like a dark cloud. Every day, whispers of the emperor's tyranny spread. Stories of villages destroyed and families torn apart echoed in hushed voices. Zara's heart raced as she watched her father repair their home. He worked with care, but the worry in his eyes was clear. "What if the soldiers come here?" he said, looking up at Zara. "What if they take us away?" She felt a shiver run down her spine. The thought of losing her family was unbearable. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, Zara's mother gathered the family. "We must talk," she said softly, her voice trembling. The family sat together, the warmth of the home failing to chase away the chill of fear. "We need to leave Xantor," Zara's mother finally said, her voice steady. "The Emperor's soldiers are getting closer. We cannot stay here and wait for them to come." Zara's heart sank. Leaving her home felt like tearing a piece of herself away. But she knew her mother was right. They had to protect each other. The next morning, the village was abuzz with news. A few families had already fled, seeking safety on a distant planet. Zara and her family quickly packed their belongings. They gathered food, clothes, and memories, knowing they might never return. The villagers watched, some hopeful, some despairing. Zara glanced back at her home one last time, tears welling in her eyes. As they journeyed through the dense forests and rocky paths, fear gripped Zara's heart. "Will we ever be safe?" she wondered. The sound of rustling leaves and distant animal calls filled the air, but all she could think of was the Emperor. What if his soldiers found them? Days passed as they traveled, and the fear in Zara's heart grew heavier. Each shadow made her jump, each sound sent chills down her spine. Her family tried to comfort her, but the reality of their situation was hard to ignore. One night, as they camped under a blanket of stars, Zara overheard her parents talking in worried tones. "If we don't find a safe place soon, we will have to go back," her father said. Zara's heart sank. She couldn't bear the thought of returning to the Empire's grasp. Suddenly, a rustling sound in the bushes startled her. Zara's heart raced as she turned to see what it was. She felt a surge of panic, but it was just a small creature scurrying away. She took a deep breath, trying to calm herself. "We have to keep moving," she thought. "There must be a place where we can be free." The next day, they reached the edge of a vast jungle. Zara felt both excitement and fear. This jungle was rumored to be a dangerous place, filled with wild creatures and hidden dangers. But it also promised a chance for safety. Her father took a deep breath. "We must go through," he said firmly. "It's our best chance." With their hearts heavy and hope flickering like a candle in the wind, Zara and her family stepped into the jungle. As they ventured deeper, the trees loomed tall, and shadows danced around them. Zara clutched her mother's hand tightly. They were moving into the unknown, but they had to stay strong. The Emperor's fear had driven them to this point, and they would not let it take their spirit. As they walked, Zara silently vowed to herself, "I will find a way to fight this fear. We will not be victims anymore." Little did she know, this was just the beginning of their journey. A journey that would lead them to an unexpected ally, one who would change everything. As Zara and her family made their way deeper into the jungle, the sounds of nature surrounded them. Birds sang high in the trees, and the air was thick with the smell of wet earth and blooming flowers. But despite the beauty around her, fear still gripped Zara's heart. They were far from home, and the danger from the Emperor's soldiers was never far from her mind. After walking for hours, Zara's family finally found a small clearing. They decided to rest. Zara's mother pulled out some food, and they sat together on the soft grass, trying to calm their nerves. "We need to stay alert," her father reminded them. "This jungle can be dangerous." Just as they began to eat, a rustling sound came from the bushes nearby. Zara's heart raced. "What was that?" she whispered, glancing at her parents, who looked just as worried. Suddenly, a figure stepped into the clearing. It was a human, tall and strong, with dark hair and kind eyes. He wore strange clothes made of fabric Zara had never seen before. "I mean no harm," the man said, holding up his hands to show he was friendly. Zara and her family stared in shock. Humans were rare in this part of the galaxy, and they had heard many stories about them, some good, some bad. Zara felt both curious and afraid. The man introduced himself. "My name is Alex. I was exploring the jungle when I found you." His voice was calm and warm. "What are you doing here?" Zara's father spoke first. "We are fleeing from the Emperor. We want to find a safe place to live." Alex nodded, his expression changing to one of concern. "The Emperor's soldiers are everywhere. You must be careful." Zara felt a strange sense of relief wash over her. Here was a human, standing before them, and he seemed kind. "Do you know a safe place?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "Yes," Alex replied. "I know of a hidden village nearby. It's a place where others have escaped the Emperor's rule. You can find safety there." Zara's heart leaped with hope. "Can we go there?" she asked eagerly. Alex smiled, but then he looked serious. "It's not an easy journey. We have to move quickly and quietly. The soldiers patrol the area often." Zara's father looked at Alex, searching for assurance. "Can we trust you?" he asked. "I promise I will help you," Alex said, his voice steady. "I want to fight against the Emperor, too." With a shared look of determination, Zara's family decided to trust Alex. They quickly packed their things and followed him deeper into the jungle. As they walked, Alex told them stories about his life and how he ended up in this part of the galaxy. Zara listened, fascinated by his tales of adventure and bravery. "Where I come from, we believe in fighting for what is right," Alex said, glancing back at them. "I've seen the damage the Emperor can cause. We have to stand together." Zara felt inspired. She had always thought that humans were just stories, but now here was one standing with her family, willing to fight for them. The sun began to set, casting golden light through the trees. The jungle came alive with sounds, the chirping of crickets and the distant calls of creatures. As they walked, Zara couldn't help but feel that this strange meeting might change everything. After a while, they reached a small stream. Alex paused and knelt down to take a drink. "This is a good spot to rest," he said, looking at Zara's family. "We can take a break here before we continue." Zara and her family settled down by the water, grateful for a moment to relax. As Zara watched Alex, she realized how much he had already helped them. He had given them hope when they had none. "Thank you for finding us," Zara said, her voice full of sincerity. "You have no idea how much this means to us." Alex smiled, his eyes bright. "I'm glad to help. Together we can make a difference." In that moment, Zara felt a bond forming between them. They were strangers from different worlds, but now they shared a common goal, to fight against the Emperor and find freedom. Little did they know, their journey had only just begun, and the challenges ahead would test their courage and friendship like never before. The night settled over the jungle like a thick blanket, and the stars twinkled high above. Zara, her family, and Alex sat by the small stream, the sound of water flowing softly in the background. The fire crackled as they roasted pieces of food over the flames. Zara could feel the warmth from the fire, but it did little to chase away the lingering fear of the Emperor's soldiers. As they ate, Zara glanced at Alex, who was sitting across from them. He seemed at ease, but she could see the shadows of worry on his face. "How long have you been hiding in the jungle?" she asked, trying to learn more about the man who had become their guide. Alex paused, looking thoughtful. "I've been here for a few months now," he replied. "I came to explore and found out how dangerous the Emperor's rule can be. I decided to stay and help others who were fleeing." His voice was steady, filled with determination. Zara's father nodded, impressed. "You are brave to stay and fight," he said. "But why help us? You don't even know us." Alex smiled softly. "I believe everyone deserves a chance to live freely. The Emperor's power is built on fear. If we stand together, we can take that power away." Zara felt a rush of hope. Perhaps they could do more than just hide. Perhaps they could fight back. "What can we do?" she asked, her eyes shining with curiosity. "There are others like us in the hidden village," Alex explained. "We will meet them soon. They are planning to fight against the Emperor's soldiers. We need to build trust and form a plan. Zara's heart raced at the idea of joining a rebellion. She wanted to be part of something bigger than herself, but a thought crossed her mind. "What if the soldiers find us?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Then we will be ready," Alex assured her. "We have to be brave. We cannot let fear control us any longer." After finishing their meal, the group packed up and prepared to move again. The darkness of the jungle surrounded them, but Alex led the way confidently. Zara followed closely behind her parents, her mind buzzing with thoughts about what lay ahead. As they walked, the sounds of the jungle became louder. The distant call of a creature echoed, and the wind rustled through the leaves. Zara felt both excited and scared. Each step brought her closer to the hidden village, but also closer to the danger of the Emperor's soldiers. Hours passed, and just as exhaustion began to weigh on them, they arrived at a clearing. In the center stood a group of people, their faces lit by the flickering light of torches. Alex stepped forward, and the others turned to greet him with nods of recognition. "Welcome back, Alex," a tall woman with fiery red hair exclaimed. She stepped forward, her expression warm. "Who are your friends?" "This is Zara and her family," Alex introduced them. "They are fleeing the Emperor just like us. They want to fight for their freedom." The group looked at Zara and her family with interest. Zara's heart raced as she felt their eyes on her. She had never felt so exposed, but also so supported. "We welcome you," the woman said. "I'm Lena, the leader of this group. We've been preparing for a long time. Together we can make a difference." Zara's family exchanged hopeful glances. "Thank you for accepting us," her father said, feeling a sense of relief. Lena smiled and continued. "First, we need to build trust among us. We must share our stories and learn from one another. Only then can we stand united against the Emperor." Zara felt a spark of excitement. Sharing stories meant they were building connections, forming bonds that would strengthen their resolve. She took a deep breath, ready to speak. "My name is Zara. I live on Xantor. My family and I left our home to escape the Emperor's soldiers. We were scared and alone. As Zara shared her story, the others listened intently. She felt their empathy and understanding, and it warmed her heart. When she finished, Lena shared her own journey, how she had lost loved ones to the Emperor's cruelty, and how she vowed to fight back. One by one, each person shared their story. Some had lost homes, others had lost friends, but all shared the same desire for freedom. With every story, Zara felt the fear inside her begin to fade. As the night went on, laughter and hope began to fill the clearing. They were no longer just strangers, they were allies, bound by a common goal. Zara realized that trust was being built not just with words, but with shared experiences and dreams for a better future. As the stars shone above, Zara felt a sense of belonging. Together, they would stand against the Emperor and reclaim their freedom. They were no longer alone. They had found each other in the darkness, and together they would fight for their lives. The sun rose over the jungle, casting a warm glow through the trees. Zara woke up feeling a mix of excitement and fear. Today was the day they would take their first steps in fighting back against the Emperor's soldiers. She could hear the sounds of the others already awake, preparing for the day ahead. Zara quickly dressed and stepped out of the small shelter they had made. The clearing was buzzing with energy as people gathered around Lena. She stood tall and confident, her voice ringing out over the crowd. "Today we start our mission," Lena announced, her eyes shining with determination. "We will show the Emperor that we are not afraid. We will fight for our freedom." Zara's heart raced as she listened. She looked around at her new friends, each one ready to stand up for what they believed in. Alex was there too, standing beside Lena, a fierce expression on his face. "We have a plan," he said, addressing the group. "We need to gather information about the soldiers' movements. Once we know their patterns, we can strike when they least expect it." The crowd nodded, and Zara felt a thrill of courage. She had never imagined she would be part of something so important. She stepped closer to Alex and asked, "What can we do to help?" Alex smiled, glad to see her enthusiasm. "We need everyone to play a part. Some will scout the area, while others will prepare supplies. I want you to help gather information. You have a great sense of the jungle. Your knowledge will be valuable." Zara felt proud. She had always loved exploring the jungle, and now she could use that knowledge to help her new friends. "I can do that!" she replied, excitement bubbling in her chest. With the plan set, the group split into smaller teams. Zara and Alex teamed up with a few others, ready to venture into the dense jungle. Zara led the way, her heart pounding as they moved deeper into the green wilderness. As they walked, Alex explained the importance of staying quiet. "The soldiers can be anywhere," he whispered. "We need to be careful and not attract attention." Zara nodded, her mind focused on the task at hand. They moved silently, listening for any signs of danger. After walking for a while, they came across a small clearing where they spotted a group of soldiers gathered around a campfire. Zara's breath caught in her throat. She felt a mix of fear and anger. These soldiers had caused so much pain to her people. "Look," Alex whispered, pointing to the soldiers. "We need to get closer to hear what they're saying." Zara's heart raced as they crouched behind some bushes. She could hear the soldiers laughing, talking about their latest patrols. "We're going to crush those rebels," one soldier said, his voice full of arrogance. "They think they can hide in the jungle forever." Zara felt a surge of anger at their words. These soldiers had no idea how strong they were. She exchanged glances with Alex, who nodded, understanding her determination. After gathering information about the soldiers' movements, they decided to head back to the hidden village. They moved quickly, adrenaline pumping through their veins. Once they returned, Zara rushed to Lena and shared what they had overheard. "They think they have the upper hand, but we can surprise them," Zara said, her voice full of passion. Lena listened carefully and then turned to the group. "We can use this information to plan our first attack," she said, her voice steady. "We'll strike at dawn when they least expect it. We'll show them that we won't back down." As the sun began to set, the villagers gathered around the fire discussing their plan. Zara felt a sense of camaraderie growing among them. They were no longer just individuals with their own fears. They were a united force, ready to fight for freedom. As night fell, Zara found herself unable to sleep. She lay in her shelter, her mind racing with thoughts of what lay ahead. Would they be successful? Would they finally take a stand against the Emperor? In the quiet darkness, Alex approached her. "Can't sleep?" he asked softly, sitting beside her. Zara shook her head. "I'm nervous about tomorrow," she admitted. "Me too," Alex replied. "But we have each other. We're not alone in this fight." Zara nodded, feeling comforted by his presence. "I know we can do it," she said, her voice filled with determination. "We have to believe in ourselves." As the stars twinkled above, Zara closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. She felt the strength of her new friends surrounding her, filling her with courage. Together, they would face the dawn, ready to fight for their freedom and show the Emperor that they would not be silenced. With the first light of morning, they would begin their battle, stepping into a new world where fear no longer ruled their hearts. The fight for their freedom was about to begin, and Zara was ready to stand tall beside her friends. Together, they would show the Emperor that they were not just survivors, they were warriors. The first light of dawn broke through the trees, bathing the jungle in a soft golden glow. Zara woke up early, her heart racing with anticipation. Today was the day they would take action against the Emperor's soldiers. She could hear the sounds of her friends stirring around her, preparing for what lay ahead. Zara stepped outside, taking a deep breath of the fresh morning air. The jungle was alive with sounds, the chirping of birds, the rustle of leaves, and the distant call of creatures waking up. It felt like a new day, a new beginning. She felt a mix of excitement and fear, but she pushed the fear aside. Today, they would show the Emperor that they were no longer afraid. As she joined the others around the fire, she saw Lena giving instructions. "Listen up, everyone!" Lena's voice was strong and clear. "We will split into teams. One group will distract the soldiers while the other moves in to gather supplies. We know where they keep their food and weapons. This is our chance to hit them where it hurts." Zara felt a thrill of energy run through her. They had a plan, and they were ready to act. She turned to Alex, who stood beside her, determination etched on his face. "Are you ready?" he asked, his voice steady. Zara nodded. "More than ever," she replied, her heart pounding in her chest. After a quick breakfast, they gathered in their teams. Zara and Alex were assigned to the group that would create the distraction. Their job was to draw the soldiers away from the camp, allowing the other team to sneak in. Zara felt the weight of responsibility on her shoulders. This was it, the moment they had been waiting for. As they approached the soldiers' camp, Zara and Alex moved quietly, staying hidden among the trees. They could see the soldiers sitting around a fire, laughing and eating. Zara's stomach twisted with anger. These were the people who had caused so much suffering. "Ready?" Alex whispered, and Zara took a deep breath, nodding. They picked up stones and began throwing them in the opposite direction. The noise echoed through the jungle, and the soldiers' heads snapped around. "What was that?" one soldier shouted, standing up. "Let's check it out!" Another soldier yelled, running toward the sound. As the soldiers moved away from the camp, Zara and Alex slipped into the clearing, their hearts racing. They could see the supplies piled high, bags of food and weapons. "We have to be quick," Zara said, glancing around nervously. "They won't be gone for long." They quickly began filling their bags with as much food as they could carry. Just as they were about to grab some weapons, a loud shout broke through the air. "Hey, stop right there!" Zara's heart dropped. The soldiers had returned.
"Run!"
Alex shouted, and they dashed back into the jungle, adrenaline pumping through their veins. The sound of shouting soldiers chased them as they sprinted through the trees. They ran as fast as they could, weaving through the thick foliage. Zara could hear the soldiers behind them, their shouts growing louder. "Catch them!" a soldier yelled, anger in his voice. As they ran, Zara's mind raced. They had to lose them. "This way!" she shouted, leading Alex toward a narrow path she knew well. It would take them deeper into the jungle, where they could hide. They turned sharply and darted into the dense underbrush. Zara could hear the soldiers crashing through the trees, but they were getting farther away. After what felt like an eternity, they finally stopped, breathless and panting, hiding behind a large tree. "We did it!" Alex exclaimed, his eyes wide with excitement. "We got supplies!" Zara grinned, feeling a rush of triumph. "And we survived!" she added, her heart still racing. They made their way back to the hidden village where the others were waiting. When Zara and Alex arrived, everyone cheered. They had done it. They had taken action against the Emperor's soldiers. Lena stepped forward, her expression proud. "You both were amazing! We have food and supplies now. This is just the beginning!" Zara felt a sense of belonging wash over her. They were no longer just survivors. They were a team, a family united by a common cause. As the sun rose higher in the sky, Zara looked around at her friends. They were all smiling, filled with hope and determination. She realized that today was not just about fighting against the Emperor, it was about standing together and believing in a better future. The fight was far from over, but they had taken the first step. Zara knew that with her friends by her side, they could overcome any challenge. They would keep fighting for their freedom, and together they would build a new beginning. With newfound strength, they gathered around the fire, sharing stories, laughter, and plans for the future. Zara felt a warm glow inside her. She was ready to face whatever came next. They were not just fighting for survival, they were fighting for a world where everyone could live freely. The jungle felt alive with possibility, and Zara was ready to embrace the adventure ahead. Together, they would create a new story, one filled with hope and bravery.